So today I'm going to talk about you, how I made in my life and how everybody also can make in this life. And very often when I meet people, I have a chance to work with them, they always say, I've changed their life or I've inspired them. I really don't know why. Probably it has something to do with my childhood. Because when I was born, my father, sent me away at the age of 5. He gave me to a Quranic teacher he never met before, and he didn't get any contact with him. So he took me away and dropped me in another village with another young boy of 9 or 10 years old. Together, this is how we end up in the street, begging for food, carrying heavy loads, struggling to survive. And it was very hard for me, or walking between villages and villages barefoot. So 5 years later, I got the chance to be rescued by one of my uncles who took me back to school at the age of 11. So at the beginning, nobody thought I could make it because I was too old to go to school. And surprisingly, I made it up to university and graduated as a teacher of English in 1987. So after that, I had to face another challenge because the 80s coincided with the global economic crisis. And it was a big problem in my country. Poverty was rampant. Unemployment was very high, among youth. There was no private initiative. And then I decided to set up my own business, training and interpersonal class called the Language Club. It was very hard at the beginning, but what I did is probably telling families, I can teach your children for free, or approaching some NGOs, telling them I can translate your document for free. And so once they got confident to me, and they were happy with my work, they started spreading the word. And this is how I succeeded in my life, and became one of the most famous teacher and translator in my country, and getting money, and then became an employer. So then I said, I think I am fortunate, then I should help. So for me, the best way to invest was to invest in education, because to me, education is the cornerstone for development of a country. And it's the only way to alleviate poverty. And based on the various problems in my country, then I decided to do something for education. Look, in most rural areas, this is the only furniture students have. Just a piece of chalk and a slate. One book for 4 students, or 6 students, if any. The picture of the students was taken last February in one rural village of a school I support. And also, look at most of the classes are overcrowded. 107 in one classroom. This is in my community. And 2 major, drivers pushed me again to education. The first was as a teacher and translator. Whenever I was hired by journalists or consultant for fieldwork, I was paid $100 to $200 a day, whereas the driver who take us was paid only $10 a day, including his food and accommodation, simply because he was not educated. And to me, this was unfair. The second driver was when I bought my plot in the outside of Bamako in a slum. It was a very poor area with no school, no running water, no electricity, no good road. So when I went there, an albino, a statesman got my attention. When he knew that I was a teacher, he said, I never get the chance to go to school, but I want my children to be educated. Can you help? For that reason, I said, I really need to help. And instead of building my own house, I used this money to buy supplies, hire teachers, and rent a house, and started the school in this community. This is the first house I rented, and then involved all the children from these poor people and orphans in this area, and started this school. And today, it's one of the leading schools in the area. And 5 years later, I met an Australian filmmaker who came to do a footage on child trafficking in my country. So he was very impressed by my work. He helped me, found a school, and this is the current school of EPY now. So, and also the sponsorship program is one of the leading programs in my school, because today more than 100 students are sponsored every year in this school. And this is a donation made by the Orange Foundation just early this month. Every year they provide school supplies and cover internet cost in my school and pay tuition for students. And these are some performance of my school. Today it's one of the leading schools. And my high school in 2010, 12, and 13 got the GCI Award for School of Excellencies in my country. And also classroom construction and teacher training is one of the projects I carry out in my community, because there is a big issue of competent and qualified human resources in my country today. For more than 3 decades, there is no proper education or school year in my country based on various reasons. And this is why I want to build the capacity of the teachers so they can get very good outcomes. And teacher training, this is a teacher training session in my country, health. And I got involved in health for 2 major reasons. The first one day, a neighbor, the daughter of a neighbor who was a friend of my daughter, Fatu, and I asked about her, they said she died. I asked, just because of malaria, 2 days of sickness. The second issue, one day when I was going to my school with my car, a woman ran out with blood on her hands. She said, "Father, can you help us? We have a woman who delivered in the toilet since 6 a.m. up to 11. She got a complication. Can you help us?" There was no healthcare center in the area. So they brought her, put her in my back seat, and they dumped their baby in a bucket, blood everywhere. She was almost dying. And since that day, I said, somebody has to do the first step. And this is why I immediately bought money from my own pocket, got materials, hired staff, and rent this house that was appropriate to start the health center in my community. And a couple of years after, I had some Australian friends who came, and when they saw that it was running, helped me build this beautiful place now you can see, and where most of the primary care health services are conducted in this area with running water, a lab, so we can do most of the services now, like baby waiting nutrition, waiting baby, and immunization. And these are some recent statistics in my healthcare center, like deliveries, consultation, diarrhea, malaria cases and treated, and malnutrition cases. So, empowering women or microcredit. These are some women in my community, they have money, and the idea of a microcredit came to me with 10 mothers who had their children in my school, but they had problem feeding them or buying them just supply pens or notebooks. So instead of giving them money all the time, then I gave them a first loan of $10 to $20 each to start a small business like buying foodstuff, candies, or condiment to sell before my school or just in the local market. It worked very well because after now there are more than 135 women who can borrow $100 to $300 dollars per cycle with a circulating capital of $25. And partnership. This is the chairman of a German NGO helping me, teacher training and classroom construction. And they founded, 4 classrooms for me, for a vocational school, just for poor children and, orphans in the area. So I cannot conclude my presentation without giving tribute or thanking all the individuals and partners who are helping me implement these community projects in my community. First of all, I want to thank and acknowledge Paul Carey, Rich Foundation from Australia, Mali Initiative, Unitarian Universalist Society of Oneonta, Telstra Helping Hand, Stern for Africa, Mali Initiative, the Orange Foundation, and Islamic Reef. Thank you for your attention.